Let's get straight to it. Do you really enjoy the things you think you enjoy? Every time you grab your phone and start scrolling without even thinking? Every time you open another browser tab to check something you don't actually care about? Every time you eat when you're not hungry, laugh without joy, or consume without any real need? Who's actually enjoying it? You? Or the system that trained you to chase instant pleasure? Here's the uncomfortable truth. We've been programmed to pursue pleasure, but never to arrive at it. And the scariest part? Most of us don't even realize it. We live in an age where pleasure is always within reach, yet it's never enough. Aldous Huxley saw this coming almost 100 years ago. He warned that the real control of the future wouldn't come through oppression. It would come through pleasure, not through force, but through distraction. A world where you wouldn't have to ban books because no one would want to read them. A world where the truth wouldn't be hidden, but buried under a mountain of meaningless noise. A world where you wouldn't need to control people because they'd be too addicted to their own chains. And here we are, living in Huxley's world. A world where you can fulfill almost any desire in seconds. A world where satisfaction is instant, but emptiness grows. A world where pleasure isn't a reward, it's a drug, because that's what's been done to pleasure. It's been weaponized, turned into a tool to keep you hooked. Think you're free just because you get to choose what you consume? Stop and ask yourself, are you really choosing, or are you just picking between traps that were designed for you? Look around. Pay attention to how much is fighting for your attention. Every notification, every alert, every bright little flash of color, it's all bait. Entertainment dressed as freedom. Instant pleasure has become the new dictatorship. They don't punish you, they entertain you. They don't silence you, they flood you with noise. They don't lock you up, they drown you in options until you can't move. And while you're lost in quick hits of dopamine, your real life is quietly falling apart. It's not pleasure you're chasing anymore. It's the next dose. Food isn't food anymore. It's dopamine wrapped in sugar and fat. Social media isn't connection. It's tiny sparks of fake validation. The content you consume isn't learning. It's anesthesia for the mind. We've been sold a lie that pleasure is the purpose. But what if the thing you think is saving you is actually poisoning you? Huxley made it clear, our future wouldn't be a dictatorship of pain, but of distraction. And here's the real danger. Every hit of cheap pleasure makes it harder to feel real pleasure. Kids can't focus on a book anymore, but they can watch 5-second clips for hours. Adults can't sit in silence, but they can fill every moment with meaningless noise. Relationships crumble because they take work. And when instant gratification is just a swipe away, why bother putting in effort? The truth is, effortless pleasure kills the will to fight for what really matters. Because the best things in life, love, purpose, achievement, come with a cost. And the problem isn't pleasure itself. The problem is how easily we get it. Think about it. Why has love become disposable? Because there are endless options. Why do so many people stop chasing big dreams? Because quick gratification feels easier. Why do you never feel truly satisfied? Because shallow pleasure never fills the void. And that's how pleasure becomes a weapon. It distracts you while your life slips away. It keeps you hooked while your capacity for joy shrinks. It traps you in a chase that will never end because you were never meant to catch it in the first place. But the deepest trap isn't even the addiction. It's the belief that you need it. We've been taught to think happiness means constant enjoyment, but no one taught us to endure boredom. No one prepared us for the quiet moments. No one told us that real life, the kind worth living, isn't a highlight reel of exciting moments. It's built from struggle, effort, and discomfort. Instead, we've been sold a fantasy. Everything should be exciting. Everything should be easy. Everything should be pleasurable. And now whenever we face something hard, we think something's wrong. If studying isn't fun, we quit. If a relationship hits a rough patch, we bail. If a project demands effort without instant reward, we put it off. The modern world has conditioned us to be impatient, to treat discomfort as a mistake, and emptiness as something to run from. And the result? A society full of people who can't tolerate the slightest frustration. People who need constant stimulation to avoid their own thoughts. People who can't sit in silence. People who confuse comfort with happiness and end up more miserable than ever. Here's the paradox. The easier it is to get pleasure, the harder it becomes to be happy. Your brain isn't built for constant reward. When everything is pleasurable, nothing is special. When everything is instant, nothing has value. When everything is easy, life loses meaning, and yet, we keep increasing the dose. The next video, the next message, the next little hit of dopamine to make us forget, for just a second, how empty we feel inside. But here's the real danger. It's not just your happiness they're stealing. They're taking your ability to think. Because a brain addicted to pleasure can't question. And in terms of control, that's the ultimate checkmate. Think back for a moment. Do you remember when you could spend hours deeply focused on something without feeling the urge to check your phone? Do you remember being able to sit in boredom without panicking? Do you remember when your attention wasn't shattered into 1,000 pieces? That ability has been deliberately erased. Every app, every platform, every entertainment service is built to hijack your brain. They're designed to break your focus, train you to react to impulses, and keep you as a passive consumer instead of an active creator. Because here's the truth. A person who can't focus can't learn. A person who can't handle boredom can't reflect. And a person who can't think clearly can't question anything. And when people stop questioning, they're easy to control. That's why you don't need an authoritarian regime when you have an entertained population. You don't need censorship when people don't even care enough to seek out the truth. You don't need chains when people willingly lock themselves inside cages made of cheap pleasure. Aldous Huxley said it best, "The love of servitude will be our destiny." But this won't be servitude forced upon you. It will be servitude you choose. Servitude dressed up as freedom. And how do they do it? Through saturation. They've taught us to believe that freedom is having endless choices. But when those choices are all shallow, they aren't giving you power. They're taking it away. You can pick from thousands of shows, but none of them really satisfy you. You can shuffle through thousands of songs, but none of them truly move you. You can swipe through thousands of people, but each connection feels weaker than the last. You think you're swimming in options, but you're drowning in distractions. And when everything is fast, replaceable, and superficial, nothing truly matters. That's the trap. This society of pleasure doesn't make you stronger. It makes you fragile. Because the more you're trained to seek instant gratification, the less capable you become of enduring discomfort. And discomfort is the foundation of growth. There's no success without effort, no love without sacrifice, no purpose without struggle. But the system doesn't want you to grow. It wants you to consume. Why? Because a person who faces difficulty becomes resilient. A person who can sit with discomfort becomes independent. A person who can delay gratification becomes dangerous. Dangerous because they no longer need the cheap pleasures the system feeds them. And that's exactly the type of person this world doesn't want you to be. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you still in control of your mind? Or have you quietly become a slave to pleasure? The first step to reclaiming your freedom isn't deleting your apps or throwing your phone in a drawer. It's not about avoiding every temptation. The real first step is understanding the relationship you have with pleasure. If you can control your craving for instant gratification, you can control your life. If you can resist the urge for the easy option, you can build something meaningful. If you can sit with boredom, you can finally start thinking for yourself. Because pleasure isn't the enemy. The real enemy is the weakness that grows when you let pleasure control you. So the next time you feel that pull, that little voice telling you to click, swipe, or binge, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, who's in control here? If the answer isn't you, then someone else is. And that's the most dangerous kind of slavery, because you don't even realize you're chained. And now that you do realize it, the real question is, what are you going to do with this information? Because here's the frightening part. Just knowing the truth doesn't set you free. The pleasures that control you today won't disappear just because you understand the game. Your brain has already been rewired. Your patience has already been worn down. Your attention has already been scattered. If you don't actively fight to rebuild them, you'll slide right back into the same trap. That's the system's most brilliant trick. It convinces you that recognizing the problem is the same thing as solving it. It's not. Knowledge without action is just another form of distraction. So ask yourself, when this video ends, are you going to go back to scrolling like nothing happened? Or are you going to start taking your power back? I'm not telling you to give up all pleasure. I'm not telling you to live like a monk. What I'm telling you is this: develop the most valuable skill you can possibly have: self-control, the ability to know when to stop, when to say no, when to step away before it's too late. Because if you can't master pleasure, pleasure will master you. Here's something nobody really tells you. The people who truly win in life, the ones who build something lasting, the ones who live with real purpose, they're not always the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They're the ones who learn to delay pleasure. They resist the temptation of the easy path. They endure the discomfort that comes with doing the hard things. And here's the thing: these people aren't born this way. They build themselves into it. Every single day, they make choices most people avoid. They say no to distractions that everyone else says yes to. They master the art of doing what needs to be done instead of chasing what feels good in the moment. And that's the real challenge I want to leave you with. The next time you feel that itch for immediate pleasure, stop. Don't act on it right away. Instead, notice the feeling. Watch it. Recognize it for what it really is: a chain the system has hooked into your brain. Then make a conscious choice. Do you really want to give in? Or do you want to reclaim your power? Because here's the truth: every time you resist, even for a moment, you're training your brain to take back control. And if you do this enough, if you keep breaking the pattern, something incredible happens. One day you'll wake up and realize you're not like most people anymore. You don't need constant validation. You don't crave instant gratification. You don't depend on chains disguised as pleasure. You belong to yourself. And when that happens, when you're truly in control, the system loses its grip on you. Pleasure stops being a drug and becomes what it was always meant to be: a reward, not a prison. So now I have to ask you, will you keep being a slave to pleasure? Or will you join the very few who dare to take control? If you're serious, write it in the comments right now: I take control. Because when you put it into words, when you make a public commitment, you've already taken your first step toward breaking free. And if this video made you think, if it woke something inside you, then subscribe. I'm not here to give you easy comfort. I'm here to give you reality. And reality, even when it hurts, is the only path to real freedom.